mistake. He's going to have a gaffe. The expectations are just so low. And then he came out there and he gave an extraordinary speech. Listen, first of all, it's very tough to do the biography. It's very tough to do policy. Very tough to do attack and contrast. Almost impossible to do all three well. He did all three well, and it was authentic. It was an extraordinary speech. And we were prepared for it to be a terrible speech. As long as he didn't embarrass himself, we were going to come out here and praise it. You don't have to make nothing up tonight. Joe Biden did that thing tonight. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Governor?
Go ahead, Jennifer.
Yeah. Oh, I completely agree with Van. I am the hardcore, fiercest partisan here. I am just like, if I could jump out of the chair, I mean, this is the best night for Joe Biden ever. Really, this is so fantastic. People were complaining, oh, it's so much about him. It's so, his heart, all of that. We don't have any policy. I counted, he listed 20 pieces of policy that he's going to be promising, but it was all in there. But more important than that, this whole notion of the future and of forward looking and all the young people who were featured all through this convention. At the very beginning, when people were asked to imagine, what do I want to see next year? Everything is so hopeful. It's so positive. I am beyond words thrilled.
Andrew Yang, you've heard a lot of speeches by Joe Biden.
Yeah, and this was the best I've ever seen him. It felt like history has been pushing Joe forward for tonight. I said before that Donald Trump has been losing, and this convention is a chance for Joe and Kamala to start winning. And they are now on track to start winning, in addition to Trump shooting himself in the foot. I said, while I was watching Joe speak, I said Joe Biden is going to be our next president, because there's so many Americans that just wanted to see Joe and Kamala meet that threshold, and they met it and surpassed it. I could not be happier for the country, because we're on track to turn the page.
Scott Jennings?
Yeah, before I comment on the Biden speech, I thought the star of the night was Braden Harrington.
Oh my gosh!
The 13-year-old boy who
amen. That guy is incredible.
He really was. I have a little boy who fights learning differences, and I know how hard it is for kids of that age to give speeches to their class, let alone on national television.
Yeah.
And so when I saw him, I just thought that was the highlight of the night for me. In terms of political analysis, Biden made it through. Expectations were low. I think they were set low by everyone, Trump and the Democrats, and so he made it. He said, what's on the ballot? Character, compassion, science, and democracy is what's on the ballot. And so you can see this is not a policy-driven campaign. There's no platform. It is, I'm a good guy. I have empathy.
That is not true.
And the current president is not and does not. And I think that's the frame.
Let him finish.
Let me finish. That's the frame they want, and it's frankly probably the frame that sets up best for them. So I think what you'll see the Republicans do next week is probably try to frame it in starkly different terms, which is don't be fooled by the platitudes, look at the policies, and look how they would change your life. So I think that's the contrast you are likely to see between the two conventions.
Governor?
The huge contrast will be that Joe Biden has an entire comprehensive list of policies. I don't know where you were, Scott, when he was listing off healthcare, education that trains people for 21st century jobs, college debt, economic plan, Build Back Better, $2 trillion, child care, education care, immigration, labor unions.
But just saying those words out loud is not a plan. It's just saying things out loud.
No, but he's got them on his website. I mean, he's not going to read. No, it's on his website. And that's the whole point about this, is that his words, let me finish this 1 second. Yeah. His words, the whole convention was leading up to the point is that he is a man of his word. He has made promises. They are in great detail on his website, and he will carry those out. That's what this was about. You cannot say he does not have a platform.
He literally invoked FDR and the New Deal, which is exactly what we need to start digging our way out of this hole. And the New Deal was the beginning of many of the bigger and most ambitious government programs that people rely on to this day, like Social Security and Medicaid. So to say that he was light on policy and long on values, I think that might have been true early on in this campaign as someone who ran against Joe. When I was like, well, he seemed to be hammering the values and the soul. But tonight, it was a very, very different speech that emphasized the need that we do need a New Deal.
I just want to say, if the big attack on Joe Biden now is that he just isn't wonky enough, we're in a very good position. And I'm going to tell you, what he did is so hard to pull off. All the policies in there, but you almost didn't notice it because it was so masterfully woven into the biography and the story and the values. It's hard to do that, man. Whoever wrote that speech needs to get a cookie and a hug and a flag and a puppy. That thing was crafted so well, and then it was delivered so well. Here's the thing. You can't give a speech like that and not sound corny unless you believe it at the genetic level. He was speaking from the genetic level. Look, I worked with this guy in the White House, and it was an honor I'll never forget. He believes that stuff, and it's not corny if you believe it. He believes it. It was crafted beautifully, and he delivered it beautifully. If the knock on him is you didn't have enough peas on the plate, this guy is in great shape tonight.
Scott, I mean, do you expect President Trump next week to, unveil an actual health care plan? I mean, he's not exactly a policy wonk and known for, elaborating on policy, is he?
No, he's not. I think they have a chance at the convention to lay out the stark differences in where the two parties would take the country. I think they're going to talk a lot about taxes. I think they're going to talk a lot about public safety. I think they're going to talk a lot about the unrest in the streets. I think they're going to talk a lot about what they would consider to be a radical agenda from the Democratic Party and how that would materially and negatively impact your life. So, yeah, I do think they're going to use policy as a device to change the conversation because, yes, look, there's no question. Joe Biden exudes empathy. You look at him, you look at Dr. Biden, they're clearly nice people. They're good people. They have empathy, and that there's no way you can argue that. And so the conversation that the Republicans are going to have is we had a great rockin' economy once. We got interrupted, but we can get back there again, and their policies will not permit it.
Scott, they're going to have to go back to the drawing board, though, on the definition of Joe Biden. Listen, tonight, I'm going to tell you right now, they are going back to the drawing board. The caricature of the bumbling old fool, they set this bar so low, like you said, they're going to have to go back to the drawing board. If Joe Biden keeps doing